Well, another nice day out. Let's go see what we can get into in the shop today. Got one side done. Show you guys how I made it. And we'll keep working on the second side. Okay, here's a look at a bunch of the parts I'm using for the control arms and now the push rod. So we start off with these cups. You got a bearing that drops inside of there, and then it's got a C-clip that goes in the top. So those are what I'm welding my tubes off of. So you got to notch them, line them up. And you got these that go in the end of the tube. It's got some burrs in it. And they're threaded. I've got right hand and left hand ones depending on what I'm using them for. And I had to custom make my own bolts. So this is a top one. And that's the bottom one. Pain in the ass, never tried that before. Especially when you gotta make a bunch of them. And these are parts for the lower control arm. So this will span between them. This goes underneath between the two tubes. And then I got two of these for holding up the actual push rod, or for bolting on the push rod. So next up I got some plate. Goes onto here. Then I got a couple of these. This side still needs some filing, but this will sit on an angle. And then these are the cantilever portions, the rockers. So I just finished making some spacers for the rockers. This one will go on the top, right here. Space the two pieces out, and this one is for right there. This is so that I can keep them exactly parallel and make them a lot stronger. So here's the other side all mocked up. Nothing's tacked in place yet or anything. So bearings in between, bearings on each of these, and bearings on each of these. So it's gonna push like that, and the shock will be mounted in this direction. So when you're looking from the front, they'll be beside the engine, they'll be going over top of this engine cradle hoop. And moving like that. So let's get these welded up with our spacers, and then I can begin tacking up this stuff as well. I got everything mocked up, got some bolts in it, and everything's held together nicely. So I got the first one welded up. I ended up putting a brace right here as well, and one there. This one I went in the center here. It should be more than strong enough, and they're, you know, being that they're steel, they're extremely light too. So I've got a bearing on each side of this, and then I'll have a bearing on the other side of each of the bracket that holds it as well. So I gotta assemble that, and then we can weld that up as well. So it'll sit pretty much right there. So it should sit there normally at ride height. As the bump hits, it'll go like that. Now these aren't precision bearings or anything like that, so they're not gonna be the greatest thing to use in here, but everything else was ridiculous expensive, and I'm sick of spending all this money on this thing. Next up is the mounts for the push rod on the lower control arm. Push rod. I gotta tap holes in this one before I can mount it. Actually, on the bottom one, sorry. That one. Because it mounts right flush to the bottom, and I do not want anything protruding like a nut below that.
Alright, so as you guys saw, we fabbed up the one side, and I'm waiting on bearings to be able to finish up on the second side. So I went ahead and started on my exhaust. You guys will see more of that in the next video. Please hit that like and subscribe button, Thank you guys for watching.